Hi everyone and welcome to Tutor Time. I'll be your teacher today, Miss Allen. Today we're going to be using benchmarks to compare fractions on a number line. Now this is a little bit more difficult of a skill or concept. And yes, it is for fourth grade Common Core, which means wherever you are in the United States, this is a standard that your fourth grader will be using. When I taught this earlier in the school year, many of the scholars struggle with this. We are going to be using many of the skills that I've already reviewed in my earlier videos, so you may need to go back and watch some of those videos, especially the ones with how to convert an improper fraction into a mixed number. We really need to do that in order to plot on our number line. So let's get started. As you can see, I've already put up some fractions and we're going to be plotting them on the number line that I have right here. Now, for the scholars and or parents that don't know, a benchmark is the numbers on the number line. And the benchmark normally for a regular fraction where the numerator is smaller than the denominator, your number line would say 0, 1/2, and then the number 1. But since we're using numbers or fractions that are all improper fractions, and what is an improper fraction? That's right, scholars. It is a fraction that is larger or greater than one whole. So our benchmark on our number line is going to start with 1. And then it'll go to 1 and 1/2, and then to 2. So scholars, first thing that we need to do is look at our improper fraction, and we need to convert it using division into a mixed number. And what is a mixed number? Oh my goodness, scholars, you are so smart. That's right. It's a number that has a whole number, which is the number 1, and a fraction. So for our first improper fraction, which is 4/3, I did the division. I put the numerator inside the house, 3 outside the door, and then I asked myself, how many times can 3 go into 4 without going over? And the answer is 1. So the 1 goes at the top, then I multiply. 3 times 1 is 3, and I subtract 3 from 4, which leaves us with what? 1. And so now, remember scholars, that the number that is on the top of the roof of the house is your whole number, and then the remainder is your numerator, and the denominator always stays the same. So let's move on, and now we're going to do the same with 11/6. It's what kind of a fraction? That's right, improper fraction. So let's see. I'm not going to do the division, or yeah, I will. So we're going to draw our house. 11 is going to go on the inside. 6 goes outside the door. How many times can 6 go into 11 without going over? That's right, scholars, 1 time. You guys are so smart. And 6 times 1 is 6. That's right. So we're going to subtract 6. We need to cross off the 1, make it a 0, bring it over. 11 minus 6 is 5. That's right. So now our new fraction, or our mixed number, is 1 and 5/6. So scholars, I'm not going to do the division on the last one because we have so much work to do here. So how many times can 12 go into 17 without going over? The answer is 1 time. Let me move my over so you can see. And so when I put 12 into 17, we're going to subtract. So what's 17 minus 12? That's right, scholars. The answer is 5, and the denominator stays the same. So what we want to do now, and I'll circle it or I'll underline, let me find a different color. Now we're going to plot 1 1/3 1 and 5/6, and 1 and 5/12 on our number line. Now, in order to do this, I am going to use 3 different colored markers. And I'm going to use 3 different colored markers because I don't want you to get confused. We only have one number line. So, first, let's start with 1 and 1/3. So, if we were going to use thirds, that tells us that our number line between the number 1 and the number 2, we're just going to have 3 lines. So, I'm going to use a blue marker to draw my thirds. So let's see. I would have one right there and one right there. So this would be 1 and 1/3, and this would be 1 and 2/3. And then the number 2 would be 1 and 3/3. 3/3, which is a whole number fraction, and then the whole number 1, and 1 plus 1 is 2. So here we have our thirds, and I'm going to plot my blue right there. Now I'm going to use red to show my 5/6, my 1 and 5/6. So that means that between 1 and 2, I'm going to have 5 other lines. So let's go. So I'm going to have 1 and 1/6, 1 and 2/6. Let's label it 1 and 1/6, 1 and 2/6. This is going to be 1 and 3/6 because I know that 3/6 is my halfway point. Then I'm going to have 1 and 4/6. And then 1 and 5/6. And what I just noticed is that 4/6 is equal to 2/3. If I divide both of these by 2, if I divide 4/6 by 2, I'm going to end up with 2/3. So 1 and 2/3 is equal to 1 and 4/6. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now I'm plotting 1 and 5/6 with my red marker. Okay? And so now I'm going to use green for 1 and 5/12. Again, that means now I need 12 spaces between 1 and 2. So scholars, what's half of 12? Oh my goodness. Yes, it's 6. So guess what, scholars? Right here at my halfway point, that's also, and I'm going to put my 12s up top. This would be 1 and 6/12. So that's 1 and 6/12. So I can say now I'm going to need 5 on this side and 5 on that side. So here we go. I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here's 6. So this will be 1 and 1/12, 1 and 2/12, 1 and 3/12, 1 and 4/12, 1 and 5/12, 1 and 6/12, 1 and 7/12, 1 and 8/12. Because if I divide both of these by 4, I'm going to end up with 2/3. So now I know that 1 and 2/3, 1 and 4/6, and 1 and 8/12 are all equal. 1 and 9/12, 1 and 10/12, and 1 and 11/12. And what I'm noticing here also is that if I divide 10 and 12 both by 2, I'm going to end up with 5 6. So 1 and 10 twelfths and 1 and 5 6 are equal as well. So scholars, now that I've marked this, I'm going to plot my 1 and 5 twelfths. And now scholars, using the benchmark 1, 1.5, and 2, we were able to plot 3 different mixed numbers with different denominators all on one number line. So now we can compare these fractions. So now I'm going to move my piece of paper up, and now I'm going to compare. This would be 2a. I'm going to compare 1 and 5 6 to 1 and 5 twelfths. So now all I have to do is look at my number line. Here's 1 and 5 6. And here's 1 and 5 twelfths. So which one is larger? Remember, here's your benchmark 1. The largest one should be closer to 2. So, scholars, which one is larger? 1 and 5 twelfths or 1 and 5 6? That's right, you guys, you're so smart. 1 and 5 6 is larger than 1 and 5 twelfths. Please remember that when we're using greater than, less than, and equal to, that the opening goes towards the largest number. So the alligator can eat the bigger number. Okay? So here we go. Now let's do 2b. Now we're going to compare 1 and 1/3 to 1 and 5 twelfths. And so here's 1 and 1/3, and here's 1 and 5 twelfths. So which one is larger? That's right, scholars. 1 and 5 twelfths is larger. So scholars, using our benchmarks and a number line, we just compared mixed numbers. Now, scholars, we're going to do it one more time, and you'll get to see me do it from the beginning. So let me use my blue marker with this one. So this will be 3a, and I'm going to compare 11/8 and 7/4 and 15/12. So scholars, what's the first thing we should do? That's right, convert these, what kind of fractions? Improper fractions into what? Mixed numbers. So let's do that now. 8 can go into 11 how many times without going over? That's right, scholars, 1 time. And when I subtract 8 from 11, what do I have left? You guys are so smart. 3. And what happens with our denominator? That's right, it stays the same. Let's do it again for 7/4. How many times can 4 go into 7 without going over? That's right, scholars, 1 time. And when we subtract 4 from 7, we're left with how many? Correct, 3. And what happens with our denominator? That's right, it stays the same. And last but not least, 15/12. How many times can 12 go into 15 without going over? 1 time. And when we subtract 12 from 15, we're left with how many? That's right, 3. And what's going on with our denominator? That's right, it stays the same. So now, scholars, now we can draw our number line. And since we have 1 and 3/8, 1 and 3/4, and 1 and 3/12, what is going to be the benchmarks for our number line? That's right, scholars. It's going to be 1, 1.5, and finally the number 2. So that's going to be our new benchmarks. I'm going to move this up one more time so you can see. Here's our new number line. And so let's get started. I'm going to start with my red pen first, and I'm going to mark 1 3/8. So that means I should have 7 lines between the 1 and the 2. So here we go. And scholars, what's half of 8? That's right, 4. So I know that 1 4/8 is going to be my halfway point. Okay? So now I have 1 1/8, 1 2/8, 1 3/8. I've already marked my halfway point, 1 4/8. Now I have 1 5/8, 1 6/8, 1 7/8. And remember, 1 8/8 would be equal to 2 because 8/8 is equal to 1 whole, and 1 plus 1 is 2. So now we're going to mark or plot 1 3/8. Now I'm going to use my green marker, and we're going to plot 1 3/4. So before we get started, scholars, what's half of 4? That's right, 2. So now I know also that 1 2/4 is the halfway point. And 1 1/2, 1 2/4, and 1 4/8 are all equal to each other. So now let's plot. So I need 2 more. I have 1 2/4, so now I'm going to need 1 1/4 and 1 3/4. So scholars, guess what? 1 1/4 is going to be equal to 1 2/8, because if I divide 2 and 8 by 2, 2 divided by 2 equals 1, and 8 divided by 2 equals 4. So 1/4 and 2/8 are equivalent or equal to each other. So there's my 1 1/4, 1 2/4. Now 1 3/4. Guess what? 1 6/8 is also equal to 1 3/4. If I divide 6 and 8 both by 2, I'm going to end up with 3/4. So these are equivalent fractions as well. 1 3/4 is equivalent to 1 6/8. So I've done my marking with that. Now let's go to my blue, and now I'm going to do 3/12. So scholars, what's half of 12? That's right, 6. So again, 1 6/12 is going to be my halfway point. So 1 1/2, 1 2/4, 1 4/8, and 1 6/12 are all equal. Okay? So now I'm going to need 5 on this side and 5 on this side. So here we go. So, and I'm going to put them at the top because it's hard to put down here. So I'm going to have 1 1/12, 1 2/12, 1 3/12, 1 4/12, 1 5/12, 1 6/12, 1 7/12, 1 8/12, 1 9/12, 1 10/12, and 1 11/12. And so scholars, we are plotting 1 and 3/12. So now, scholars, I can compare my fractions. If I compare 1 and 3/12, let's say against 1 and 3/8, which one is going to be larger? That's right, scholars, you are so smart. 1 and 3/8 is larger than 1 and 3/12. I forgot to plot my 1 and 3/4. Here we go. Let's plot it. And so now, scholars, let's compare 1 and 3/4 to, let's say, 1 and 3/8. Which one is larger? Here's my 1 and 3/4. There's my 1 and 3/8. So which one is larger, scholars? That's right. 1 and 3/8 is larger. Now, scholars, this was a little bit hard and it was a lot, but it's still very easy. So, scholars, I hope this video has been helpful to you in learning how to, first of all, convert improper fractions into mixed numbers, and then using the benchmarks on a number line to compare your fractions. I hope this video was helpful to you. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and also comment. If you have any particular math lesson or question you would like for me to answer, please just drop it down in the comment and I'll do it for you. So have a good day, scholars. Bye.